Welcome back to Advocacy, Alchemy with Professor Ross. Today we have a good one, guys. This case starts at Amscot in Palm Beach County, Florida, where we had a man who attempted to cash a $7,832 U.S. Treasury check, probably a tax refund, using a fake ID. Employees were trained enough to stall him, alert law enforcement, and try to verify the documents. But what happened next turned this from a simple fraud into a foot chase. Threats of a K-9 deployment, and an unexpected confession that opened the door to a larger organized fraud ring. Today, we're going to break down the case step by step using the body cam footage, Florida law, and evidentiary standards. And we'll wrap it up by placing ourselves on the jury in a case like this. So with that, let's go ahead and jump in.
Alright, he made to the north side of Hustle College. Yeah. Alright, 2-7 looks like I lost him. I got him here. Dude, right now! Get on the ground right now! Get on the ground right now! Get on the ground! Now they smack it! Get on the ground! Right now! Get on the ground! Alright, I got him behind the building! Alright. 2-7, going to Gator Guns. He's going to that strip. He's going northbound, behind Hustler. We got K-9 coming. Get on the ground. We got it right here. Get down. Get down. Now the ground.
Get down.
I'm doing it.
Face down on the ground. Get on the ground. Lay down on the ground.
I ain't doing it. 2-7, we'll get him in custody. I ain't doing it.
You found a gun?
Gun.
That's what I heard.
Run.
Use control.
Yeah.
Sit up.
2-7, got use control.
Oh, you don't listen? That's what happened.
I ain't doing it.
You blood on? You got blood on.
I understand. Told you I was gonna get you.
Yeah, but I ain't doing
Yeah,
it.
you did too. Trying to cash check $7,000. We got you,
No, I
man.
ain't get
Oh, bullshit. Dumbass.
I ain't take shit.
Yeah, okay.
Hang it up.
No, he's saying the guy and I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Run Hotchkiss, please.
I'm not even funny, man.
He's definitely on something, man.
Apple. What the hell are you looking for?
He doubled back on me.
Yeah.
And I cut him up in front of the gym.
I was
I
scared.
told you to stop.
I was scared. I didn't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
You got a wallet? Somebody needs to go to that
Yeah.
to that place.
All right. 2-7. If we can have a unit go to the business. Let's see if he has a wallet. Let's see. Well, he must have dropped his cell phone, huh? You just saying what? Alright.
There was somebody there, you didn't see him?
So you.
I had nothing to do with it. Somebody was there.
Someone was calling you, telling all the cops were there, huh? Right? And then you started running.
No, I saw you. I was standing there because I wasn't doing anything.
Okay,
He was the
when
one
people
fucking-
don't do anything, they always run from us.
He was the fucking-
We got people running all the time for not, don't do nothing.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
You are told to stop. You continue to run.
That's good. I'm in alcohol as well, that's fine.
The casually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got some in his front pocket.
It's a phone.
Oh, it's a phone. Oh, he'll get some other stuff here. Look.
Wait.
You got the new one? No. You need that one. Nice. Looks like it's a cell phone. Big
I don't know.
with a fingerprint thing on the bottom of it.
Daughter.
What's your first name? Nick? What's your middle name? Costelli? And your last name? No. Costelli?
How are you?
Dude, how you doing?
Alright, so he presented me with this ID to cash this check.
Huh.
They did a good job, but it's not,
There's no hologram though.
yeah. And the feel of it is not good, no good. But I want to believe the check is stolen.
Yeah.
So, and he has the person's social as well. Because the social he provided us is that social for that person.
Was it the number or the actual card?
No, the number. He didn't give
Number?
us the card. He gave us the number.
What was the social he gave you?
So this is a customer identification form. We asked him to fill out. This is a copy.
Okay.
This is the information he gave us here and everything. He signed there and I signed here. Oh.
Okay. Do you have your ID?
Yeah, let me grab it.
Thank you, ma'am. Events that occurred today.
Okay, so customer came in to cash a check for $7,832, government U.S. Treasury check. Presented check and ID. He was not in Amscot system, so I asked him to fill out the customer identification form. Upon reviewing the check and the ID, we discovered that ID is fake, fraudulent. We did have him proceed with the transaction to see how far he would go, of course, but we got every information we could get. I sent it up to my approval center where, of course, we refused the transaction and we called non-emergency so someone can come out and assist us with the customer.
Okay. And raise your hand again. You swear the statement you gave was the truth?
Yes, I do.
I'm assuming you guys have cameras?
We have cameras. To get the camera though, I gotta give you a number, and they send it up to you guys because I don't have access to it.
Oh, it's like a remote thing?
It's from corporate. Our corporate is in Tampa.
Oh, from corporate?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let me get that number from you.
Okay. I didn't know if you guys could see it.
Yeah, they got him. He went running. They got him.
6147, I think it is. Let me make sure. Yeah, 6147.
Is it a real check?
Yes, it's a real check.
Oh, okay.
But I guess
Just for my own curiosity, how do we know it's a real check?
we can check it. We have a system that we check it on.
Okay.
But it's a real check. The feel and everything of it is real.
Okay, so
what happened
the
is
database of these checks,
Yeah.
it came back, it's a real check?
Yeah.
Okay.
What
cool.
it is that they steal the checks and then they make the IDs
Yep.
for them. So
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious
Yeah.
if we confirmed it's a real check or a
yeah.
fraudulent check as
Yeah.
well.
No, the check is good.
Okay.
Amscot. Alright, so this is our compliance department.
Okay.
Once you call them with your case number and stuff, they will submit you guys with the tape recordings.
Okay. Amscot Compliance 813-637-6147.
Yeah, and I can give you my card.
No, I have your
Oh, you
information
got
on my
it,
call.
okay.
Yeah, that was okay, perfect. Yes, and we'll get in touch with them and get the video, and then we'll go from there, all right?
Alright, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Alright, you have a great night.
Thank you, maybe as well.
All right, with those rights in mind, do you wish to tell me what happened tonight and who is involved with what happened tonight?
Yeah, this guy approached me because he saw that I was homeless and broke or whatever.
Right.
Desperate. And desperate. I was walking around looking for rehab or whatever. So, I don't know. It was 2 days ago, he told me he had something for me to do and, pay me money. I was broke. Whatever. This was yesterday, so I didn't even see him all day today. And then he called me, but yesterday, all of a sudden, he was like, and I was drunk, so he was like, stand there for a second, and he took my picture. I don't know why. Whatever, I don't care. He bought me like a pack of cigarettes, so whatever, I just kept going on and on. What I wanted to ask is, can this help me right now?
Well, I'm more interested in who's doing this behind the scenes, who's creating the checks, who's
I didn't do
getting
any
you
of
all
that
involved.
shit. I'm just
Exactly.
like a moron.
So what you did is much smaller of an incident to me. So go ahead and continue. So the guy took your picture.
Yeah, then he picked me up, and he's like, look, I'm going to get you some clothes. I got your hotel tonight. You can stay there a couple of days, shower, whatever. I went there, cleaned up. They had an ID, and he was like, yeah, I just need you to try and cash this. He was in the parking lot when the police were there.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a gray Infinity. There's another guy involved. I don't know who that is, but he must be the one that makes the IDs. And they're staying in a Super 8 hotel in room, I thought it was 288. It's the second floor. If you pull in, you gotta go around the back up to the second floor, and it's all the way to the left. It might be 282. 282. Room 282. His name's Stacks. His number's in my phone.
Anything else?
My stuff's in there, so if you went in there, you would see paperwork with the rehabs I was looking for was in there. My dirty clothes were in there. I got cards and shit that were in my wallet.
Let's walk through the laws that are at play here. There's 5 laws we're going to look at. First, forgery. This is found at the Florida Statutes, section 831.01. This is defined as knowingly making or altering a document with the intent to defraud. This is a 3rd-degree felony and carries up to 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $5,000, and also, if it's your first time, up to 5 years of probation. Here, in this case, the ID presented wasn't real. It was a forged ID made to match someone else's real ID using their information, but a picture of our suspect here. And I think his name is Nick Castelli, but I could not find him. So if anyone else hears something different, tell me so that we can find all his information and take a look at it. Second, uttering a forged instrument. This is found in section 831.02. It's defined as knowingly passing a forged document as genuine. Now, when you hear the word instrument, it's a legal term for checks and also for certain stocks and bonds and things like that. They're called financial instruments. All right, this is a third-degree felony also. It carries up to 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $5,000. Here, the man, Nick, he attempted to cash a check with a fake ID. That qualifies. Let's move on to number 3, organized fraud. This is found in section 817.034. This is defined as a scheme to defraud and obtain property. This is a second-degree felony, especially when the value is greater than $5,000, and it carries a penalty up to 15 years in prison, a fine of up to $10,000. Here, this is the second-degree felony because it was for over $7,000, the check that he was trying to cash. It seems that this might have been part of a bigger scheme where checks were being stolen and they were using people like this man here who he says at one point in the video that he's homeless. So using people like this in this ring, they would make an ID, send them to check cashing places to try to cash these checks. You see, this is the very, very beginning of the year, so people are getting refund checks back, things like that. Social security checks, all that kind of stuff. Number 4, resisting an officer without violence. This is found in section 843.02. The definition says this is obstructing an officer without using force. This is a first-degree misdemeanor. It carries up to 1 year in jail, a fine of up to $1,000. You can also be placed on probation if this is your first time around for up to 1 year. Here, fleeing on foot. This video started with the officer running after the guy. Now, the reason the video starts that way is because when the officer pushes that button, it has a buffering time. So it will start recording, or it will start actually saving the recording up to 30 seconds before the button was pressed. So what that means is that that device is really always on, but it's not saving until you push the button. Once the button is pressed, then it goes back in time and catches that video, starts saving it, and it starts the audio as soon as when the button is pressed. But here, he was running. He was chased. That does qualify as resisting arrest. Number 5, possession of a fake ID. This is found at 322.212, section 5A. This is defined as knowingly possessing or using a counterfeit or unlawfully issued ID. This is a third-degree felony, carrying the same 555, 5 years in prison, up to $5,000. Maybe you can get 5 years of probation. Here, this guy knowingly used a fake ID that lacked proper security features. There was no hologram. It didn't feel right, the lady said, in her hands. So with that, let's move into our evidentiary standards next. And they're important because in every case, the government has to meet certain standards in order to be able to arrest a person and convict a person of a crime. So let's briefly walk through the 6 levels of evidence and show how they apply here. First, you have mere suspicion. Now that's a gut feeling with no concrete proof that there's actually any violation or broken laws. A good example is the Amscot clerk sensing something was off based on the suspect's nervous behavior. That wouldn't be enough to do anything, but it's enough to cause your intuition to go off and to start looking closer at what's going on. Now, number 2, reasonable suspicion. This is when the government or the police have specific facts that suggest criminal activity is occurring. A good example is the ID didn't scan properly and it lacked a hologram. And I don't know what state you're from, but my state has the hologram there, and my state's ID looks exactly like the Florida ID. All right, so I'm from Arkansas, and I've seen the Florida IDs a bunch of times on these videos. They look exactly like our ID, except it just says Florida at the top. They use the same color scheme, the same backgrounds, everything. So, and the hologram it looks like it's in the same place. So, next, probable cause. This is when the government has enough facts to justify an arrest or to go get a search warrant or an arrest warrant from a judge. A good example here is the fake ID, the fake name, and the fleeing from the police all clearly establish probable cause to arrest Nick Castelli. Number 4, preponderance of the evidence. Now, this standard is used mostly in civil contexts, civil lawsuits, and it means more likely than not that your case is supported by true claims. It takes about 51% of the evidence in your favor to win this type of case. That's simply a balancing test. One side needs to weigh a little bit more than the other. Here, the confession and verification records support that this suspect knowingly engaged in fraud. Next, we have clear and convincing evidence. Now, this standard means that it's highly probable that the claim is true. This takes a little bit more evidence than 51%. This takes about 75% of the evidence needs to be in your favor. This is used in cases that take more evidence, like child custody cases when you want to change who's going to be the custodial parent, certain administrative hearings to fight for employment and things of that nature. And also when a person brings a civil lawsuit saying someone defrauded them or committed some sort of fraud against them, you need to have more evidence to prove your point. And preponderance is the standard used in those types of cases. Now here, his detailed confession about how the scheme worked, along with names and locations, that will all qualify as going toward that higher standard of clear and convincing evidence. Now, I will say the police had an interview with him at the end of the original video. I encourage you, go and watch it. This is a newer YouTuber. Go support him. I cut that part out because it's just them talking with him at a hospital, and that's when he goes back over more of a scheme and how he got involved in this scheme. So go back and take a look at it. Next, we have beyond a reasonable doubt, and that simply means there's no reasonable alternative to displaying what happened besides the defendant being guilty of the crime that's alleged. Here, surveillance footage, a physical ID, check records, and his own words would likely meet this burden at a criminal trial. It's important to understand that at criminal trials, the prosecution must meet every element of each crime to the standard, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. That takes about 90 to 95% of the evidence in your favor to meet this standard. All right, with that, let's move into our next section, the jury perspective. Now, let's put ourselves in the jury box, and we'll ask a few thought-provoking questions. Like, first, do you believe that this man was just a desperate pawn in some bigger scheme being manipulated by someone else? Or did he seem more like a willing participant who knew what he was doing and only told the truth once he was caught? From what we saw a man running at the very outset of the video. Once he was caught, he asked them why they did this, said he hadn't been doing anything, there was another person there when he was there, all these things. Would you believe his statement if he told you that someone gave him clothes, an ID, and coached him on what to say to the check cashing clerk at Amscot? Does it feel like he's just a convenient scapegoat? Understand that your intuition might be nudging you one way or the other when seeing a video like this. The man is clearly distressed. Possibly he's drunk. He admits to being homeless, but he also ran, he lied, and he held on to fake documents until he was caught. So what do we do with all that? Let me know in the comments below. Is this man guilty or is he not guilty? Let me ask you a bit of a deeper question. Now, we don't have all the facts here, but if you were on a jury, you would get all the facts, or as many as they collected. Do you think this was a part of a bigger fraud ring? Just based on what this man said. He's homeless, so a person that's homeless probably doesn't have the capabilities to create a fake ID, even one that's poorly made. But you let me know in the comments below. This case shows us how a fraud operation often preys on the vulnerable, maybe. But that doesn't excuse someone from responsibility when they go along with the plan. Whether you're homeless, struggling, or just caught in a bad situation. Once you sign your name, present a forged ID, and try to walk away with government money, you step into the world of criminal liability. The law doesn't look at what happened, it looks at what you knew and why you did it. So let this be your lesson. Fraud is never a victimless crime. Whether you're making an ID, cashing the check, or just trying to help someone out, the penalties are real. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Is he a thief or is he a scapegoat? Guilty or not guilty? Remember to like, subscribe, and share the video. And finally, remember, this is Advocacy Alchemy, and I am Professor Ross. I'll see you tomorrow. Everyone have a good Friday, and be safe out there.
Please subscribe to Advocacy Alchemy for more lectures from Professor Ross.